Hello, Cubs fans, and welcome to a brand new edition of Cubs on Tap. I am Ron Luce, joined by Mr. Tyler Edmonds this evening. It is Cubs Spring Awakening. Pitchers and catchers have reported. The boys are down in Arizona getting ready for the 2026 MLB season. And we've got spring training baseball at the end of this week. A lot of exciting shit going on. But before we talk all things Chicago Cubs, Mr. Edmonds, my friend, it's been a hot minute. How are you doing, sir?
It's been way too long, Ron. I'm good. Dude, I can't wait. It's like we were talking about pre-show. I'm so ready for opening day. I love seeing all the videos and stuff of guys reporting to camp. Dude, I'm pumped because last week was opening weekend of college baseball. So I've been watching a ton of college baseball right now and I love the fact I get on X and I see so many people posting all these pictures of college stadiums just freaking packed with 20,000+ people. You pull up your phone and you see daggum Iowa beating UW Platteville 34-5 and Louisville winning 21. You got freaking football scores, and I love it. But yeah, I'm pumped, man. Baseball's here, and it's not going anywhere for a long freaking time this year.
Yeah, man. Baseball's officially back in swing, and we'll have baseball all the way into late October and potentially early November, depending how late the World Series goes. Baseball is back. Again, Tyler, to your point, college baseball is kind of the first tickle of spring. And then obviously MLB opening day is really when everybody's like, okay, spring is here. We're trending toward summer. We're trending toward just an electric time to be in Chicago, frankly, and in the city. A quick hello to those joining us in the comment section. It's going to be a good show. Feels good to be back talking about the Chicago Cubs. Tyler, let's get into it. I mean, pitchers and catchers have reported, right? I mean, they're in Arizona. They're at Sloan Park. They're getting their work in. We see Bregman in Cubs gear. We see PCA down there. Nico Horner's down there. We've seen a ton of clips already of guys in live BPs and all that stuff. We've seen plenty of it thus far. It really does just kind of fire you up, man, especially when you look at the schedule and there's a spring training game on Friday against the Chicago White Sox.
Yeah. It got here fast, and I love seeing guys like PCA and Alex Bregman together. It looks like things are clicking. I love seeing the clips of Matt Shaw taking reps in the outfield. I love it. What I told you pre-show, what I probably love the most is day one of media when they throw the microphone in front of everybody. The thing that I'm most happiest about with this team right now and in this club at their camp is there's no drama. There's no questions about last year as far as certain guys and certain things. I haven't heard one single thing about the absence of Kyle Tucker. Oh, what do how do you expect to fill the absence? Haven't had to listen to any of that. Like all these, you got, and not that it's a huge deal, but you hear other camps like the Phillies, for example, who are, they're in the media right now. You've got the Mets, they're in the media. You've got the Giants and their head coach talking about his college team from last year and all that. We don't have that right now. And it's so great. It's so great that the guys, it just seems like they're all there, ready to play, focused on 2026. Yeah, you've got 2027 looming just around the corner. But right now, everything all seems well in Cubs camp. And I know it's early, but it's a great start.
Yeah. Tyler, I agree with you, right? It's nice that coming into spring training, there's no drama. But I would also argue that there's no conflict in terms of storylines, right? There's no what is this team going to do? And they're lacking in this category. It really does feel like this is the first, probably the most complete this Cubs roster has been in quite some time. Really, I mean, we're probably talking 2016, 2017, maybe 2018, where this team's it's a competitive ball club. Like this team is, the goal is to win at least 90 games this year, to win the NL Central, to position yourself and have a chance in the playoffs and to make a real run at it. And it's refreshing, right? To your
Yeah.
point, it's these guys are all business. It's PCA sounds more mature and ready to go. Alex Bregman's saying all the right things. I listened to a little bit of Edward Cabrera talking to the media and just how excited it seems like he is to get going. And the depth is there at every position. They're in a great spot right now in terms of just what we're expecting them to do. I'm just genuinely excited. The quieter the better, to your point, Tyler, when it comes to spring training, because you absolutely right. Turn around and look at what's going on with the Phillies right now.
Yeah.
Everybody's asking about Nicholas Castellanos and his departure and the beer in the dugout and was he a distraction? And you hear Kyle Schwarber kind of saying like, well, it's
Like
tough to
blindside.
say,
I
you
think
know.
that and I felt bad for Kyle Schwarber because it's almost like in that situation, it seemed like he was a little blindsided, and I'm sure he would probably want to give a better answer, but yeah, we don't have that issue right now, and it's great.
Yeah,
Like there's literally not even a question of, hey, was the absence of Kyle Tucker or was Kyle Tucker's, such and such months last year, was that an issue in this clubhouse? Was that a distraction? Like we're not
yeah,
having to worry about that. And it's great. It's like you said, Ron, the quieter, the better. And you've got guys like, okay, yeah, Tom Ricketts came out, what was it, today or yesterday, talking about the goal of winning championships. And obviously he's got to say that. And maybe, who knows? Oh, he's just blowing smoke, whatever. It's what you want to hear from an owner, though.
a
It's
thousand
what you want
percent.
to hear from a guy that runs the team. You don't want to hear anything. And we all can we could do a whole episode on just things that he has said in the past about, breaking even and blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. It's just nice to hear all that as far as him and his family and their goals with all this. And yeah, again, maybe it's just him saying the right words, whatever. But again, hopefully us Cubs fans will hold him accountable to that all season long.
Mhm.
And I hope he takes what he said and hopefully applies it to this season as far as making moves and stuff like, or allowing Jed to make moves. But it's right now, it's the quiet. Yeah. The quiet. Yeah. The quiet is not a bad thing. It's not.
No, and it's really not. And to your point, I think that's a fascinating point that has not been talked about enough in the world of Cubs baseball, amongst the fans, what have you. Nobody in the press is asking, do you guys miss Kyle Tucker? I think the narrative's a lot different if you don't make the Alex Bregman signing, because I
Oh, for
think that
sure.
was
For definitely.
that
Yeah.
was the signing that really showed everybody that the Cubs are serious, especially as soon as the reports broke that there was deferred money involved. And the Tom Ricketts went against everything that he's pretty much said he would never do to make
Mhm.
that happen. I think it gives justification, though, to what he's saying now. I think Cubs fans can actually sit back and trust what Tom Ricketts is saying because of putting his money where his mouth is in
Yeah.
signing Alex Bregman to a monster contract and, allowing Jed to trade your top prospect to go get a legitimate, starter in Edward Cabrera. There's so many positives. And right now, like you said, the narrative's not, are you guys is Kyle Tucker missing such a big deal, this, that, and the other? It's, what's the focus? And you just hear all these guys talking about unfinished business and, last year's in the past, and this is a good baseball team, and we got to go out and we got to get it done. And this is a team with World Series aspirations, and anything less is unacceptable. And that's
Agree.
exactly what we want to hear as fans, because
Oh, for sure.
sure, maybe they don't win the World Series this year. That's a very realistic possibility because the Los Angeles Dodgers still exist, and baseball is baseball. But the fact that the expectations are there and everybody's in lockstep in those expectations, I think is what gives, especially me as a Cubs fan, one who has blatantly sat here and been like, this team pisses me off and has pissed me off for the last 5 or 6 seasons. I finally feel a little bit of comfort in saying, like, okay, the franchise is actually taking this seriously now. And it's not just some nonsense and bullshit like it's been over the last 3 or 4 years from ownership, from the front office, from, the manager, what have you. These are real expectations for this team to go out and win this year.
For sure. And with that being said, there are still things just like every other team. There are things with this roster and this team that have to click. Things have to come together for that to happen. But you could say that about every team. Does the pitching staff, does the starters, some of those guys in that rotation, do they take a step back from last year? Do some guys recover a lot better from last year? Does the younger guys, do they, PCA and whoever else, other guys, do they make a step forward? Does Matt Shaw make a step forward? That utilities, there's obviously there's questions, but with that being said, just from the, like you said, from the outsider looking in right now at this roster as a complete whole, it feels so much better going into this season than it has in the last few seasons.
1000%. And Tyler, with that in mind, I ask you, since this team is largely complete, right? We're not asking who's playing third base this year. We all know damn well who's playing
Mhm.
third base. There's really no questions in the lineup anywhere, right? I
Mhm.
mean, I would, there's little questions about guys that might play smaller roles on this team, maybe a little bit about the bullpen and just who's going to establish what role, which a lot of that's already been addressed, right? We've heard that Daniel Palencia is the closer as of today, and that's how they're approaching going into the season. What are you watching for in spring training, especially early on here? Is there a certain player that you're keeping tabs on? Is there a certain position that you're keeping tabs on? What are you most drawn to in terms of a potential storyline with this
I
Cubs
mean,
team right now?
obviously, right field. Who's starting right field on opening day? Does Matt Shaw can Matt? I'm interested to see how well Matt Shaw makes the transition from third base to outfield, as well as his utility spot. And honestly, he's a good enough athlete drafted as a shortstop. I think he's going to be all right. But with that being said, Seiya, we all know Seiya's going to probably take a lot more reps in right field than he did last season. Me and you kind of joked about a possibility in the WBC with him in center field.
Yeah.
But that's definitely a story that I'm interested in with right field. I'm interested in the starting rotation. I'm interested to see, how does Shota look? He's a guy that had a lot of questions at the end of the year, a guy that we thought wasn't even going to come back this year. We thought maybe he may hit free agency, and he's back on the 1 year contract, and it's just going to be interesting to see how well he can bounce back. Does Cade Horton, does he make a step forward from last season, being a top 3 rookie of the year finalist? Daniel Palencia, I know he's announced as the closer, but is he a guy I'm interested in watching him in the WBC? Because is he a guy that that matures a little bit, and is a guy that can he handle that moment a little bit better, and like unlike he did in the second half of last season? Is he a guy that has he developed a secondary pitch with his slider? Has he as far as locating it better? Has he been able to create his splitter to become a whole lot more effective? That's stuff like that. That's what I'm looking for. As far as everybody else in the lineup, though, I honestly think, obviously Moises Ballesteros is going to be interesting to see if he can take that DH spot as well. But other than that, as far as your regular everyday guys, I'm not too worried about them. No.
I agree. This is the first year in forever, Tyler, that I've actually like kind of struggled to find major storylines about this team. But
Yeah.
I agree with you on the first one that you noted. And it really is just who's playing right field every day.
Yeah.
I think we are going to see Seiya Suzuki out there a lot more often than people realize. I would make an argument that there's a good chance you see him out there for at least 81 games in right
Oh,
field.
for sure. And real quick, and me and Nick talked about this a few weeks ago. I'm not. I don't. Is Seiya the best outfielder in the world? Is he going to win a Gold Glove? Probably not. Does he have his issues? Yes. But I will say, Ron, do you think 2 years ago, had Seiya not missed that ball in right field in Atlanta, are we talking about the quote unquote issue of Seiya playing right field?
No.
I don't think we are either. I really don't. Yeah, he had his moments, but you ask Cubs players, right? You ask Ian Happ about playing right field and how difficult it is to play at Wrigley Field, which I've even wondered, would it make sense to even ask possibly Ian Happ, to your Gold Glove left fielder, your guy, your veteran guy that's been there the longest? Would it possibly, it's not going to happen because I feel like if it was going to happen, you'd hear about it. For
Mhm.
him to possibly get reps in right field and maybe say a move to left, it's not going to. I just something we had talked about, but I asked Nick that question a few weeks ago about Say, and it's just like if he catches that ball, I don't think we're talking about Say being an issue.
I agree. I don't think we're talking about it either. And again, to your point, I don't think we're talking about Seiya Suzuki winning Gold
Yeah.
Gloves in the major leagues, but and this is still kind of I think how I feel about it now. Really, all Seiya Suzuki's got to do is play your quadrant of the field,
Yeah.
right? Like just
Yeah.
play the line to not even necessarily right center. You know
Oh
why?
yeah.
Because Pete Crow
You've got
Armstrong,
a you've got Superman in center field.
yeah, PCA can cover 75% of that fucking outfield if he really needs to, right? I
Oh yeah.
mean, you have a true Gold Glove center fielder adjacent to him. I'm not worried about that. And I think that's for the same reason I wouldn't be worried about a guy like Matt Shaw playing out there here and there, right? If the lineup makes sense, right? If they face a left-handed pitcher that day, I think there's a good chance you see Seiya Suzuki in the DH role and Matt Shaw in right field. Get as many right-handed bats in that lineup as you humanly can.
Mhm.
Then again, I think there's going to be a lot of days where maybe it's Moises Ballesteros in the DH role, maybe it's Matt Shaw even in the DH role. Maybe it's Alex Bregman in the DH role to give his legs a rest for a day and have Matt Shaw playing third. Maybe it's whoever the fourth outfielder is on this team, right? They signed Dylan Carlson in the offseason to compete for a fourth outfield spot, as well as Chas McCormick. Maybe it's one of those guys getting a couple
Yeah.
looks here and there. There's a lot of guys that can step in and play, whether it's DH or even outfield, as long as it's just about getting your best bats in the lineup as often as possible. And I'm fine with Seiya playing right field 90 plus games this season. I
For
don't
sure.
think that's an issue, especially when you can find the outfields on the road where like he can really thrive, right? Oh, that's an easy right field to play. Okay, throw Seiya out there that day,
Yeah.
right? PNC Park, throw Seiya out in right field, right?
Oh yeah.
Bush Stadium, throw Seiya out in right field.
Speaking of
Out
Bush,
in
they don't even hit
Milwaukee,
the ball to the outfield.
right?
The
In
home team doesn't
Milwaukee,
even hit the ball to the outfield, so he'd be all right in Bush Stadium for sure.
yeah, it'll stay with their Gold Glovers on the infield.
Yeah.
But pretty much any of the NL Central ballparks on the road, let him play in the outfield, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of like right field at Wrigley is probably one of the hardest right fields to play. If that's the case, maybe it is a Chas McCormick getting a look out there if he makes the team. Maybe it's Kevin Alcantara at some point
Yeah.
this season, right? There's going to be other names that are going to get a look, and I'm really fascinated to see how they address that over a 162 game sample size over the course of this season because you don't have Kyle Tucker out there every day on a regular basis. But because of that, you were able to fill a huge hole at third base, which was kind of a rotating door for a lot of the season as well. So again, everything has its place. But speaking of Seiya Suzuki, let's talk about that really quick here, and
Mhm.
we'll keep this thing moving. The center field for Team Japan report is fascinating because Team Japan saying, "Hey, we want to get our best bats in the lineup, and this is the way we can do it." It's Seiya's our arguably our best outfielder, and he's probably gonna have to play some center field. This Japan lineup can slug their way to win games, and they can pitch their way to easy contact. That I don't think they're genuinely that concerned about who's playing the
No,
outfield, as long as they
they
can
honestly
cover a little bit of
that
grass.
is yeah, that's exactly it, Ron. They are if that's how it goes, like if that's how the lineup goes with say in center field, that is exactly their mentality is we do not care because we know we are going to outslug the crap out of every team. And we've got a guy in Yamamoto that is going to just shove it down your throat anyways. And I don't think Otani's not pitching, right?
He's not pitching.
But still, it doesn't matter. That's how confident they are, and I can't blame them because it feels like every WBC that they're at least in the Final Four
Yeah.
every time. So it does not surprise me one bit.
Yeah, and I think people forget, like, yes, Seiya has maybe struggled a little bit in the majors. He's also playing the hardest right field in baseball. I think if you
Yeah,
put him on any other team playing right field every day, yeah, he's not a plus defender, but he's certainly not a negative defender either. Like he's fine. He gets the job done. He gives you an average right field. In the same breath, they're not going to be playing in any tough environments from an outfield perspective. And this was
Oh,
a guy that
Seiya's gonna feel right at home at the because they play their games at the Tokyo Dome, right?
yeah, they're
At
going to play
least
in the
their
Tokyo
opening
Dome,
games, yeah.
and then they're going to play in Miami.
Yeah. Oh, Tokyo,
So
yeah.
they'll be fine. And that's where I think they're looking at that and they're saying, well, look, Seiya Suzuki was a Gold Glover in Japan. I know it's very different, but he was a Gold Glover in Japan. He's going to do enough for us to be able to put out our best lineup every day of him playing center field. And I'll hammer that till the day. Like when Yamamoto's pitching, the outfield might see 3 fly balls the entire time. Right? I mean, you're not going to see a lot of other things. And while we're on the topic here of Seiya Suzuki, Carter Hawkins 113 says here, Cubs have 5 Gold Glovers and 2 other plus defenders. One average guy in Suzuki is perfectly fine. Absolutely, absolutely. And
Absolutely.
you know what the craziest part about this is? Yeah, they have 5 Gold Glovers. You can make the argument that Michael Busch might win a Gold Glove in the next 2 years. So
Yeah.
that number then becomes 6.
Yeah, for sure.
Two-thirds of your lineup, which again, only 8 of them play in the field outside of pitcher. You'll be fine if your catchers are the quote unquote worst defenders outside of Seiya Suzuki on your team. Which again is huge for everything when it's all said and done. Tyler, another thing while we're on the topic of spring training here. Obviously, World Baseball Classic is exciting. Games start, I believe it's March 2nd is when we'll start to see the first set of games. It's a lot of like Team Italy versus the San Francisco Giants and some of those kind of just to get teams warmed up. We saw the Cubs play Canada, right, when Owen Casey was playing with them a few years back. Distinctly remember that game in spring training. A lot less, though, of spring training that we will see this year, and a couple different ways that people can listen to the games as well. So notably, anybody in the Chicagoland market is familiar with this, but to our listeners that aren't in the Chicagoland market, like yourself, Tyler, 670 The Score is now also simulcasted on FM radio. It's not just an AM radio station in Chicago anymore, so they're also on 104.3. They've completely pretty much rebranded themselves to 104.3 The Score, at least in Chicago, but they are still on 670 for those that are just outside of the FM range in Chicago. So a little bit different ways to listen on the radio if you're in the city, but the biggest one is just a lack of games. And Tyler, I have it right next to me here. You can count with me really quick here how many games they're going to play on Marquee Sports Network. It's a very underwhelming schedule this year. They will play the first 2 games this weekend. So February 20th, Friday, they play the White Sox. That will be a 2:00 start on Marquee. That will be, again, on Marquee Sports Network. And then February 21st against the Rangers. They're not back on Marquee Sports Network or on Marquee until March 1st. And that's another game with the White Sox. March 2nd, they'll play against the Reds. Then on March 4th, they'll be back on against the Brewers. Then on March 8th, they'll be back on against the Giants. And then you go in almost another week, March 15th against the Dodgers. Then March 20th against the Athletics. Then March 21st, they have a doubleheader. It's the Padres prospects versus the Cubs prospects in the spring breakout, and then the Mariners. And then March 22nd against the Brewers is the final spring training game that will be aired on Marquee.
I mean,
it is a very underwhelming.
Yeah. I mean, you would think that they'd want to get you would think they would want to get their product out there as much as they could, especially with all the confusion. What was it, like a week ago, which it's kind of been it's been misinterpreted, but as far as the deal with MLB TV and the ESPN stuff, as far as like, oh, if I got to buy MLB, you have to buy ESPN to get MLB, all that kind of crap. And it was just, that's already drawing people away, that confusion right there. And then to throw on top of it, oh, we're only going to show you this many games right now on in this. And I know it's just spring training, but still, it's like, give me all of it. If you got, which I pay for the MLB app, but I'm not sure how much Marquee Sports is in Chicago, what you guys have to pay a month for that. But Jesus, if you're gonna pay that, if you're gonna do that, hell, give me all the access I can, give me all the opportunities I can to watch the games.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also disappointing too because I would say this, right? To me, this screams that clearly the viewership hasn't been there to justify the expense that it is to send camera crews, to do what you need to do to have people on site every day, so on and so forth, right? Fine. But you would think then, like, hey, at least broadcast every game on the radio.
Oh yeah,
They're only
something.
doing they're only doing 10 games on the radio. In fact, they're doing more games on marquee 11 than they are on the radio. There's only going to be 10 games on the score until we get to regular season baseball, which obviously every game then will be on the score outside
Yeah.
of nationally televised games and whatnot, where maybe like an ESPN radio takes over. But it's kind of crazy. Like it
It
really
is.
does feel like, and again, yeah, years past, right, when the team was, you had the prospects coming up and there was more hype and this team's a little more established, but like you still want to watch this team,
Oh, for sure.
and I think a lot of people sharing Carter Hawkins' feelings here.
And
Marquee not showing every game is a little bit of BS, I
don't
think,
get
for
me
a lot.
wrong, there are dog days in spring training. I get that, but still, at least give us the opportunity for those that at least want to, watch some of these younger guys and stuff. Even if it's like you said, even if it's just a radio broadcast, I tell you what it tells me, I'm probably going to be watching some more college baseball during spring training. That's for sure.
Yeah, and speaking of other things to watch during spring training, Tyler, I ask you this: do you think the World Baseball Classic this year has a lot to do with this change in the spring training schedule?
Oh, for sure. Because I believe this they have done at least. I'll tell you this: Japan and their like Japan Netflix, their account or whatever, them alone have done so much to hype this up. And they're just showing it from their point of view, from their team's
Mhm.
perspective. They've done so much to advertise this, to get this out there like it is some type of spectacle. Like I'm more pumped for that. No offense, I could care less about most of the Olympic games going on right now. I'm more like the fact that this is going on the same year as the Olympics. It's cool because it gives you Olympic vibes a little bit, but they alone have done such a good job of promoting this that they're making it a must watch worldwide spectacle. They are.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it does. It for sure has something to do with that more than likely. And maybe that's part of the reason too, is they know that, yeah, we can throw this game out there, but nobody's going to watch it. And I haven't really compared this. Like you had the list of teams or list of games. I haven't compared that to the list of when the WBC games start, but it has to be for sure because again, they have just done so much. And I hope not to get too off topic, but as far as like with Netflix, I hope with Netflix they do a lot of stuff with these teams because supposedly with them striking their deal, supposedly there's going to be a whole lot more content coming out there. And so hopefully they use this opportunity as just a way to just explode their, as far as Netflix and everything with just so much baseball content, especially WBC stuff.
Yeah, it's a great launch pad for Netflix in the baseball space.
Which,
And
by the way, are I know Japan's broadcasting stuff on Netflix. Will there be like in the United States? Will there be games on Netflix with the WBC, or is that just Japan?
I think that might just be Japan, but I'm
Okay,
not entirely sure. I haven't looked enough into the
it's
details
weird
of
because
all.
they have different. Netflix has different rules or whatever as far as certain sporting events.
Mhm.
It's no secret. I'm a big wrestling guy. Uh, there's stuff on Netflix as far as I believe. Maybe it's SmackDown that it is all their stuff is solely on Netflix. USA is the only country that it's on. There's stuff that's on 4 or 5 different platforms, and I didn't know if maybe that's the same way uh, with the WBC. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I think it might just be a Netflix Japan thing because that is a very real thing, right? Like every country has its own like media rights
Yeah,
effectively. So just because one country, is broadcasting something on Netflix doesn't mean another one is going to do the same.
I got you.
So that'll be something interesting
But
to
yeah,
keep an eye
you're
on.
probably right. It probably does have something to do with with at least Marquis schedule being a lot lighter.
Yeah. I think it's something to keep in mind. I really do. Especially too, you factor in, right? Like there might be some almost Olympic hangover, right? Of people just being like, oh, more, not to
Yeah,
say more
possibly.
sports, but spring training baseball takes a huge backseat to just about everything else that's going on sporting wise. Because also with the Olympic break, too, this is also something else to consider. We're going to go down just a really quick little rabbit hole here. The NBA has been off for roughly the last week because of the All-Star break. So, they're going to start to ramp up now with spring
Yeah,
training coming into the high. The NHL has been off since the beginning of February and do not start play until I believe it's February 26th
that's
is
crazy.
when the first set of games, because all these guys are playing over the Olympics right now.
Mhm.
So the NHL schedule is so just just compressed into March and April for the rest of the way that there's so much hockey on in that stretch too.
Do you
I just
think
think there's so many other things competing with spring training baseball that the Cubs might have just said, you know what? We'll show a handful of games, but we
yeah,
can't justify because let's be honest, most people turn off the game after 3 or 4 innings anyway.
for sure. Yeah, which I guess back to the whole idea of broadcasting. I mean, it makes a lot more sense now that you throw that all out there. Uh, I mean, yeah, I guess you couldn't blame Marquis.
Now, then again, don't get me wrong. I would still like to be able to.
I
I've
mean, I
always
know
been the one that like if I'm sitting at my desk when I'm doing work during the day, I love
have some
throwing the
background noise,
throwing the
background
game on
game
at like
on.
2 o'clock and it cruises you through the end of the day. Fantastic. I
Yeah,
love that. So
you
don't get me wrong.
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, don't get me
Oh,
wrong. Like
well, you
still
brought up. I
some
was gonna
some
say you brought
talent.
up as far as the rabbit hole. You did bring up a good point, a good thought, a good question. You were talking about hockey and NHL and them being off for February, and we got the Olympics going on right now. You got WBC. Do you think MLB will ever? Do you think that'll ever happen with MLB as far as we'll take a because they've talked about the Olympics or baseball and the Olympics and all that. Do you think there'll ever be a moment or point in time where MLB has something like that with the way NHL has basically a month off to play in the Olympics? Do you think something like that would ever happen in the MLB?
I just don't think it physically could. I just don't think
Probably.
there's
Yeah,
enough
you're probably right.
time. You would have to shorten the schedule, or you would have to convince the Major League Baseball Players Association that you guys are going to play a bunch of double headers on weekends
For
because
sure.
this is the
I
only
mean,
way
because
we
this
can fit 162 games in
we
plus the
call you call it the WBC, but we all know like this is basically the Olympics.
this is
This is
baseball's
the
Olympics. Yes,
baseball Olympics. It is.
absolutely.
But yeah, that's just you were talking about the NHL. I was like, oh, that'd be interesting. But yeah,
And you know what? I was thinking about this the other day because to your point, right? Like baseball in the Olympics is a summer sport. It would interfere with the Major League Baseball season.
yeah,
Hockey is a winter sport. It interferes with the NHL season. The only Olympic sport that is played as one of the top leagues in the United States that actually benefits from the way it shakes out is the NBA because basketball is a summer Olympic sport and that's the NBA offseason.
yeah.
So they're the only ones that don't lose out or have to kind of rearrange their schedule. Now, granted, obviously it only happens once every 4 years. And I'll tell you what, after watching the last Winter Olympics, which again was COVID shifted everything, and so we've been a while without Winter Olympics. After watching it without NHL players, I'm glad they do this because it raises the level of competition and it makes it so much more exciting, in my opinion, when the
Mhm.
best of the best in the world are playing for their respective countries.
Yeah.
But I think that the NHL has it down to such a science because they play 82 games and effectively like they start in October, they're over by mid-April. So I mean, what is that? 6 months? You play 82 in a span of 150-ish days.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
You can kind of compress the schedule a little bit and like get away with it. I just don't know what way you're going to get a 162 game season when they already play what 162 in like 180 something days or 190 days. I don't know
Yeah.
how you get that to be
Yeah,
even
you're
more
right.
compressed to play, even if you're only playing 10, Olympic games. I just don't know how they make that work, but it would be
Yeah.
cool. But again, I think that's why the World Baseball Classic though is such a cool event is because of like you said, I mean, it really is effectively the Olympics for Major League Baseball, and I
Oh
think
yeah,
that
for
makes
sure.
it such a cool event. I'm excited to watch it. I'll certainly be tuning in. Plenty of Cubs involved, as we've as noted before. Pete Crow Armstrong, Alex Bregman, um, just to name a few. Right, Team USA well represented. Team
Oh yeah, I've got the list right here.
Japan, Mexico,
You've
Venezuela.
got Javier Assad for Mexico, Alex Bregman, PCA, Matthew Boyd, all for USA. A quiet one that I forgot, Jameson Tyon, Team Canada,
Yep.
Daniel Palencia, Miguel Amaya. Hopefully, I mean, I guess he must be healthy. I haven't heard much from him as far as in camp. And then you got Seiya Suzuki. Yeah. So I would probably argue that they probably, I don't know about the other teams, but they may have the most on a single team playing in the WBC this year.
Yeah, or pretty close to it, right? If they're not the top,
It's
they're
got to
they're
be
definitely
close.
one of
Yeah.
the top 3 or 4 for sure. Yeah, it's going to be cool though. It's going to be a lot of fun to see. I don't know how much we're going to see a PCA. Just that Team USA is loaded, and he's kind of like the 4th outfielder by defunct,
Yeah, I
which
mean,
is
when you're
weird to
playing
say.
Byron Buxton and which he made now that they've lost Corbin Carroll, I know Roman Anthony's taking over his spot. Does one of them slide over in right field possibly? Does he slot? Does PCA play a little right, or maybe Byron Buxton moves to right and you've got PCA in center? I'm not sure who. Was there another outfielder besides Roman Anthony? I know he was the replacement, but was there somebody else?
He's the only
Obviously,
one that I can think
obviously
of.
Aaron Judge, but
Sure.
I feel like there was another bench outfitter. I may be wrong. Oh well.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. And then, of course, Bregman. I mean, Bregman's probably going to start at third,
Oh, for
and
sure.
then we'll probably get to see a little bit of Matthew Boyd in some way, shape, or form as
Is
well.
there a matchup in the WBC that you are just dying to see?
Ooh, that's a great question. You know, I mean, I feel like I'll be honest with you. I feel like this year, with the lack of Puerto Rican players that I would have expected to play historically,
Yeah.
right? Like Javier Baez, Manny Machado, like none of these guys are partaking in the WBC this year,
All because of the insurance situation.
all because of the
Yeah.
insurance situation. So I'm wondering, like the Puerto Rico matchup kind of loses some lust for me. I think really the one that I look to, I mean, don't get me wrong, I believe it's the Dominican Republic is still absolutely fucking
They
loaded
are
as a
stacked. I
team.
know the last year they were in it, they got upset. I believe it was the last WBC they got upsetted early. And it's
Yeah.
kind of like, what the heck? I hope that doesn't happen this year. I really don't.
I would like to see a final four of the Dominican Republic, the US, Japan, and insert fourth team here. I mean, I really don't care who the fourth team is
Yeah.
then
I
at that
mean,
point.
last year or last WBC, I remember Team Mexico was a fun team to watch.
They were.
They were just the energy they played with was crazy. Javier Assad really showed out. Uh, but yeah, they'd be and Venezuela's always pretty solid. And hope I think
Yeah.
Ronald Acuna is playing this year, and I think he's probably poised for a pretty big bounce back season from last year.
Agreed. It's gonna be fun, man. I'm just looking forward to it as a whole. But I
Yeah.
I would be lying to you if I said like I hope US and Japan play because I
Oh,
feel
for
like
sure.
that's
They've
the
got to.
marquee matchup of this WBC.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Is those two squaring off as just kind of two of the juggernauts of the World Baseball Classic. So it's gonna be fun, man. I'm gonna do my damnedest to tune into as many games as possible because I'm really looking forward to kind of sitting back and just being like, okay, let's
Dude,
watch
I'm look
the
you know what
WBC.
I'm looking forward to getting up at 5 in the morning to watch the early games like we did, with Cubs, Dodgers in Japan last season. Like, I'm looking
Sure.
forward to that too. I can't wake up at freaking 4 AM, make you a cup of coffee, and, watch a couple innings before you gotta go to work, dude. That's yeah, give it to me.
I like it. I like it a lot. Tyler, I'll tell you what, man. We've completely run through our rundown for tonight's show. So I want to turn it quickly back over to you, my friend. Um, Final thoughts before we go
Final
ahead and sign off for
thoughts,
this
couple
episode.
final thoughts. The Cubs, promotional calendar came out. Pretty I mean,
Yes.
I know, Ron, I know you get you had that day marked on your calendar I know you do every season, seeing what promotions are coming out. I know which one are you looking at right now that's like caught your attention the
I'll be
most?
honest with you, man, like, all the bobbleheads are really cool this year. There's
Yeah.
a lot of Legends bobbleheads. I think that's
Mhm.
the coolest part of it. It is the 150th Cup year of Cubs baseball
Mhm.
celebration, so I think that's part of the reason that that's cool. I mean, you've got Sammy, you've got Santo, you've got Zobrist after
Even
the double in the World Series.
The Harry Carey
Yeah,
bobblehead looks pretty cool.
the Harry Carey one looks
And dumb
awesome, so,
dumb question. They must not be playing on the 20 strikeout game was what, May 4th? I feel
um,
like they must not be playing on the actual date because Kerry Woods is like May 2nd. And I know it wasn't May
yes.
2nd.
It was May 6th that his actual 20 games
Gotcha.
or his
They must I
actual
was gonna say
20
they must be
strikeout.
gone or something because, like, man, that'd be cool. Uh,
No, they are home on May 6th. I think the reason is May 6th is a Wednesday night.
okay, gotcha. I was like,
Whereas the May 2nd game is a Saturday afternoon
okay,
game. So I
that
think
makes
that's why
sense.
that they're doing that. But it's around the same time period. But they are still home. They'll be playing. I also think too, again, it's hard because the old NL Central doesn't exist anymore. But like it would have been
Yeah.
cool if they did that against the Astros as well.
That would yeah, it would be
Um,
cool.
but of
I'm
course,
looking at because I tell you what, man, I'm a fan. I wish we had a good set of just solid gray jerseys. And
mm,
I know they brought them back last year. I'm a fan of that. Call me crazy. And everybody wants the red bill back. In my opinion, here's my way of bringing the red bill back too. That 93 road jersey. I don't
mm,
know. There's something about it that I just and they're doing a 93 road jersey giveaway. I believe it's either 93 or 94. Uh, I
yeah,
don't know. There's
with
something about that jersey that
the script Cubs.
kind of like the script Cubs in blue with the red outline and do that and bring back the red bill hats all at the same time. That would be cool.
That would be cool. That would be cool. I was a big fan of the Red Bill hats.
The other is, and you hate to see it, but what's that?
I was saying I was a
Oh,
big fan of the Red Bill. I had a Red Bill
I
hat
got you.
for a long time as a kid.
Uh, but I guess the only other final thought is you hate to see it, but Chris Bryant, dude, sucks, man.
Oh,
I'm
I saw
sending
that
all the
today.
positive vibes, his way because
Yeah.
people look at that and they're quick to judge, they're quick to point fingers, they're quick to be like, "Oh man, he's got that contract though and blah blah blah. He got his money." And it's just like he's got a freaking disease, dude. Like he's got it's a literal disease. Like it's an
Yeah.
issue on his and it's like you hate to see it just because yeah, is he the, the big superstar? I want to take I'm the super no, but you want I want to see him be healthy, man. It just
Yeah.
sucks. It just absolutely sucks seeing that. And so hopefully, hopefully he can at least play sometime this season. I'd love to see it, man. It just
I I watched that clip of him talking to the reporters today, and it broke my heart.
yeah. Cause
Absolutely
it's like,
broke my
yeah, he has to answer this stuff, but he probably hates talking about it over
for
and
sure.
over and over and over. And he just wants to play ball and he physically cannot do it. Like just
Yeah.
can't. His body won't allow it right now. And
Yeah.
it sucks, man. It really does. So hopefully sometime this year we get to see him play because gosh, healthy Chris Bryant. I said it when he first signed over there. I'm like, Colorado, yeah, he's probably not going to win he's probably never going to see the playoffs again, but that's a place where he could be an MVP candidate when he's healthy. And it just sucks, man.
Yeah. The key being when he's healthy. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I think he's gonna be one of those careers that a lot of people kind of sit there and kind of play the what if game of like, what if this dude could just stay healthy? Because we saw it, rookie of the year, MVP, multiple all-star appearances, was a consistent 30 home run threat as long as he played 130 plus games a year. And just the guy can't stay healthy. And like literally, he's just And hearing the whole hearing like just waking up in pain every day thing. That's the part that broke my heart, man,
Oh
because that
yeah,
just sucks.
sucks.
It
Yeah.
sucks. Yeah, that's a great
Yeah.
final thought.
Oh,
Tyler,
one more. Oh, sorry. One more thing too.
sure.
I finally ordered. I have
Oh,
got so every year I use it as a tradition for opening day. I like to get a new. I like to get a new jersey,
a sicko jersey.
and
Well, not necessarily.
I like getting like just a random, not just your typical whatever. Like last year was Rich Harden.
Right, right.
Um, this year I've got it ordered. It should be here Friday.
Ooh,
And I'm pretty excited about it because I will say this guy didn't play many games with the Cubs. He played some,
okay.
but I'm pretty excited about it. Should I tell you or should I? I
Keep
don't
it a
know.
secret. Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. Because Tyler, to your point, that was kind of my final thought. So this was actually a perfect segue into that. I'm excited for Wrigley opening day. Like that's where my mindset's at. Don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
I think the World Baseball Classic is going to be great. I'm gonna follow along. And keep up with this team during spring training. But March 26th is firmly on my calendar because we are renewing our yearly tradition.
Is this the third or fourth year?
This is the so for me personally, this is the fourth year. I believe for you, this would be the third year of
Brewers, Rockies, Padres.
yeah.
Wait, so this would be this would what was your first?
My first was 2022.
Who'd they open up against? The
Also
Brewers?
the Brewers. They opened up the Brewers back to back years, 22 and 23.
Okay, so 23 was the Brewers
Brewers,
for
24
me.
was the Rockies, 25 was the Padres, 26 will be the Nationals.
So this will be your fifth.
So this will be my fifth. This will be my
Wow,
fifth
that's
opening
crazy.
day.
This
Yeah.
wow.
This will be my fifth. Yeah. The first year that we did it, it was just myself, two very good friends of the program, Joe Sanders, Kyle Kay, and Mr. Joey Ricotta. That was the four of us that made
And
this
they
happen.
will be confirmed. We
They
have
they are.
confirmation. They will be at the
Yes.
Cubs on Tap House
Yes.
for opening day week.
Yes. So that group of three that we just named, us two, is sitting here on this show, as well as a good friend of mine, Mr. James Keene, and then a surprise guest of sorts. Probably a lot of people at Cubs on Tap don't realize this, but I have an older brother
Mhm.
who is 10 years older than I am and has served in the military for a large majority of my life. And I haven't seen him since February of 2020 before COVID.
Wow.
And he will be in town and is attending with a good army buddy of his, Casey, will be also joining us as well for opening day.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah, he hasn't been to Wrigley, he told me, in like 15 years too. So I'm super, super stoked.
Dude, that's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be
That's
really cool, man. We're gonna have a lot of fucking
that
fun.
will be fun.
So that's my final thought. I am looking forward to what's to come with Cubs baseball over the next roughly 4 to 5 weeks. But March 25th, March 26th is on my radar right now because that's just going to be a blast, man. I
It
can't
is.
wait. It's one of my favorite days of the year, and no matter that's a tradition. Genuinely, Tyler, I believe that you know if the little podcasts like us ceased to exist someday, I'm pretty confident that tradition would
That is still going to
continue.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I'm genuinely looking forward to that. I'm very excited about that here in the really the not so distant future. I mean, shit, we're
I
what
mean, we're just a
40-ish days away from
little
that.
over a month away.
Yeah,
Just
a
a
little over.
hair over a month, and
It's
it'll be here.
about yeah, we're probably talking probably a little under 40 days now. Probably about 39, 38 days now. We're probably in that territory. So
Yeah,
super exciting, man. Can't wait. Absolutely cannot
cannot
wait.
wait.
As always, Tyler, before we get out of here, I want to remind everybody, head over to ontapsportsnet.com, at ontapsportsnet on the socials. Be sure to go over to the YouTube channel, like, subscribe, hit that bell button. You know when all of our shows go live, including us here at Cubs on Tap. And, of course, head over to wherever you listen to us on audio form. If you do listen to us on audio form, please give us a review and a rating. Hopefully it's 5 stars, and we appreciate it and hope that you appreciate our work as well. This was a little bit of a late episode. Brown Loose is doing a double header, so I appreciate those that did tune in into our comment section and tune in along with us. And obviously, our shows are going to be picking up now as there is more to talk about in the world of Chicago Cubs baseball. So be on the lookout for that as well. Of course, ontapsports.com, at ontapsports on the socials, the OnTap Sports Network. Go and check out what's on tap in Chicago sports. Tyler, my friend, this was a blast. It was good to get back on the microphone with you.
Always is.
It's the Cubs spring awakening, man. We got spring training baseball games this week. Friday will be the first game against the Chicago White Sox. Until then, Tyler, what do you say? We got to do the only way to know how it Cubs on tap.
Yeah, you were talking about looking forward to opening day, and I tell you what else I'm looking forward to is kicking the ever-loving crap out of that team in St. Louis. I guess they still have a team. I don't know. I mean, you don't hear crap about them. And I just can't wait, Ron, to say this every single time we're on here for the 2026 season. F the Cardinals.
Hell
F
yeah, baby.
the Cardinals.
Hell yeah, my friend.
20,000 times and more.
And more. And let's go, Cubbies.